Welcome, comrades, it's IceWOlfGem here, and today we are going to be continuing playing Danganronpa. Last episode we had managed to find pieces of evidence of a murder scene of Sakura. Sadly, she's dead. And Junko is dead as well. For some reason, she got into a weird argument with Monokuma, which is very strange indeed. All the people who have the crystal ball are in the future, so let me go in here. Hello? Here, can I be? No. Here, step out of it! Huh? Hamakoto, what are you doing here? What? Yeah, this is familiar. Huh? That's my crystal ball! But it's all smashed!
What the heck?
I only bought it because the guy said it was a blessing. He said it was unbreakable. So I let it break.
What?
Was it actually just made of glass and not crystal? Did the guy totally dupe me? He said it belonged to the pillars of history. He said whoever controlled the crystal ball controlled the world. Was it seriously all BS? Let's put that aside for now. So you can say without a doubt that this belongs to me. Yeah, that's mine for sure. I probably forgot it in the laundry room last night. Someone must have come by and snatched it. Left it in the laundry room? I mean, anyone could have found it. Ah. Thanks, Hero. That's all I wanted to know. Sure. By the way, I'm almost afraid to ask, but how much did you pay for this? Everything I saved up for my future telly for 2 full years. A million! That's pretty cheap, actually. I mean, considering it gives you the power to control the world. That's just too stupid. I can't even feel bad for him. Oh no.
So, I'm getting tired of waiting. What say we just get started, It's time for the long-awaited class trial! Now then, allow me to appoint a proper location for the proceedings.
Hold on just a minute. I never noticed this before, but when the audio on the computer gets connected with my microphone, it causes a little echo to appear. So I forgot to turn it down, turn my speakers down a bit. So you wouldn't hear that little echo.
Please go through the red door on the first floor of the school.
Oh, that door.
See you soon.
I already figured that out. It belongs to the class trial. The red door on the first floor. That's where I should go. No, where I have to go. Dear God. This is ominous. You're late, Makoto! We've all been waiting for you! I bet you were afraid you would be discovered at the murder.
Listen to me!
Let's not jump to conclusions just yet. Save that for the class trial. Then we can all relate the details of Makoto's crime. They really are convinced I did, but I didn't do it. Me and Sayaka both know that all too well. But then who is the killer? I know who it is. The one who wears Sayaka. Really one of us.
Is everyone here? Okay then. Please board the elevator in front of you, which will transport you to the courtroom, where all your fate will be decided. I'll meet you all down there.
Oh, shut up. Let us begin.
Yes, indeed. Hey.
Are you scared? Not? No, scared isn't
Makoto.
quite right. I said it before, but it's up to you to uncover the mysterious surroundings of yourself. uncover the truth of Sayaka's death. I didn't need someone else to tell me to do that. If Sayaka's dead, I swear I'll find out who really killer is. Right now I'm going to try to give it all my strength. Toward the elevator. With each step forward, I can feel my heart starting to race faster and faster. Everyone else was already on the elevator. When I finally stepped on, the doors closed and the elevator started moving. The steel box descended with heavy, clunky sounds toward the school basement. I wonder if this is how a death row inmates feel when his time finally comes. Rather than that, it is more like a definitive way to receive his judgment. Obvious to our shared anxiety, the elevator lowered us further and further into the bowels of the school.
You finally arrived! What do you think? Does it feel like a real courtroom? This is a Hollywood movie set, right?
Shit, not even close.
Well now.
Okay, everyone find your assigned seats and...
Yoo-hoo!
Hurry up! Hurry up!
We did what he said and found our seats. Seats were arranged in a giant circle. It was set up so that everyone could also made it easy for anyone to transfer their attention from none view onto anyone else. Their seats felt heavier as we stepped in. Until the of our first case opened. Deadly judgment, deadly deception, a deadly betrayal. Deadly riddle, a deadly defense, a deadly fate. A deadly class trial. Do you want to save your data? Yes. Increased damage to the opponents when a statement is destroyed. Effective during the bullet's time. Cost 3 SP. Handiwork. Allows you to reload 2 bullets at once. Effective during a bullet's time. Oh, so if I talk to them even more, I can... Oh. Open E hands-off. Okay. We got 19 evidence. No, 18. Let's finish our preparations and let's go.
Class trial! Alright!
Let's begin with a basic explanation of the class trial. So, your votes will determine the results.
I'll try.
If you can figure out who done it, then only they will receive punishment. Then I'll punish everyone besides.
And the killer really is one of us, right?
Of course.
Okay then. Everyone, close your eyes. And whoever did it, raise your hand.
Don't be a goddamn idiot. Why the hell would they raise their hand?
Before we move on and start the trial, can I ask a question real quick? What's going on with those pictures?
I'd feel awful if they got left out just because they died. Friendship penetrates even death's barrier. Friendship penetrates?
Okay, but what about that other empty seat? There were only 15 of us to begin with, so why are there 16 seats?
There were 16 students.
Oh, no reason. It's just that our little courtroom here can technically fit up to 16 people. Okay, that about does it for the preamble. Get ready to get started. First up is the case summary. Now, let the class trial begin.
All right, let's do this. It's about to begin. A debate to decide who we think the killer is. Anything I found, anything I noticed, I have to be ready to speak up about everything. Because this isn't just about me. Everyone's lives are on the line. Your first non-set debate is about to begin. Would you like to hear more? Absolutely. All things recur during each trial. You will engage in a number of non-stop debates. During these discussions, the character will speak one after another without pause. It's up to you to unearth any lies or contradictions buried within these statements. What this means that you will have to use your truth bullets to refute what they say. Any relevant truth bullets you found during your investigation will be loaded in the truth cylinder. Use the left stick to aim, then fire with the triangle button. Select continuously each characteristic statement and use your truth bullet to select the right one. Note that if you run out of time, you will automatically fail. Please be careful. You press the option button during arguments to review the controls. And then all this is it. Make your argument. Evidence of the struggle.
I assert that the one who was murdered was Miss Sayaka Maizono!
Wait, where are the controls? Aim, silencer. Fast forward argument, open handbook menu, fire the truth bullet, select your concentrate, up.
Yeah, we know that part already.
And the murder.
Hold on, I want to turn them. Never mind, I
Place in Makoto's room.
In the bathroom. So it seems most likely that the killer must have taken her by surprise while she was in the bathroom. She didn't even have a chance to resist.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
Alright, counter! Break!
Just a
Not bad.
second, Chihiro. Try to remember how my room looked. With the way things had been damaged, I think we can definitely assume there was a struggle.
A struggle? Between who and who?
Between Sayaka and the killer, of course.
So you're saying Sayaka wasn't caught by surprise in the bathroom?
Of course
She
not.
must have been attacked in the main room first. Then, she ran to the bathroom to try and hide. The killer followed her in, and that's where they finished the job.
That much should have been obvious after taking one look at the scene. It shouldn't even need explaining.
Sorry.
Okay, so what's next?
Next is the subject of the murder weapon.
Wow.
It's a knife.
This is starting to sound like a real trial.
Miyashiro, what was used to kill her? The knife. The missing knife. The missing knife, I know what it is. Kitchen knife set.
So what was used to kill her?
There was some kind of sharp object thrust into her stomach. Without a doubt, that is the murder weapon!
So the killer used some random knife they had on him. How could anyone do something like that? That son of a bitch!
Okay, so it was almost with a knife that spread from a certain location.
So what was used to kill?
There was some kind of without a doubt.
So the killer used some random...
No, that's wrong.
Break.
No. I do think it was a knife, but not just any knife. I'm almost positive it was a kitchen knife.
Huh? A kitchen knife?
Yes, a kitchen knife.
After the murder, we discovered that one of the knives from the kitchen was missing.
Exactly.
Which means that knife must be the murder weapon.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. I guess that makes sense. You could sort of see the weapon sticking out of her stomach. And if you look real close, I could totally see that being a kitchen knife.
Okay, so the murder weapon was a kitchen knife, but where does that get us? I mean, we all know Makoto killed her, right?
That's right. Makoto's room was the scene of the crime. What more proof do you need?
Hold on a second.
Let's draw our conclusions after we presented our arguments. Otherwise, what's the point of the trial?
Exactly.
Well, we can
have to
talk
calm
all
down.
we want. It's not going to change that conclusion.
I don't think that's true at all. I'm sure if we keep at
I know who
it,
the
something
murderer
new
is,
will
but I'm
reveal
not going
itself.
to say until a certain point in the game.
You really believe that?
She's right. There's gotta be a breakthrough somewhere, just waiting for us to find it. Because I know, okay, well, I'm not the murderer. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? Sure. You can concentrate by holding down the R1 button. Your concentrated time will slow down so you can pay close attention to what everyone's saying. On top of that, it's steadying your aim, making it easier to target potential weak points. Concentrate like this consumes the focus gauge, and this gauge empties so you can't concentrate. But the focus gauge will recover over time, so let your brain take a rest. No need to rush. Oh then, good luck. Alright, make your argument. Priority for count.
So I guess there's no question that the kitchen knife was the murder weapon. But where does that get us?
Makoto must have taken it from the kitchen, right? He did it in secret, when nobody was in the dining hall.
That's wrong.
That's wrong.
I always account.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I didn't take the knife from the kitchen.
Next you're gonna say you're not the killer, right? Go ahead and say it all you want.
Well, what if I have a witness? What do you think, Hina?
Huh?
Remember what you were telling me earlier?
Remember, Hina?
Well, I went to get some tea from the kitchen last night, and all the knives were still there. But when I finished my tea and went back into the kitchen to wash my glass, one of the knives was gone.
So you're saying the knife disappeared while you were drinking your tea in the dining hall?
Just to be perfectly clear, the knife disappeared while you were in the dining hall, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And at any point while you were there, did you ever see me come into the dining hall?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, he definitely wasn't there.
The knife disappeared while Hina was in the dining hall. But I wasn't there the entire time. In other words, there's no way I could have taken the knife.
Okay, then what about this? What if the idiot swimmer girl and Makoto are in on it together, and lying to protect each other?
Idiot swimmer girl! Oh, and more importantly, why would I get involved in something like that?
Speaking of which, I'd like to ask the bear, if there is an accomplice, do they also become blackened?
So you ask, and so I shall answer. Each murder is allowed to have an accomplice, but only the one who does the killing will get to graduate.
So even if they work together, only the killer would get to
So
go.
in other words, two people can work together.
Yeah,
but one
that's
of
what I
them
just
has
said.
no chance.
Then there's no way anyone would work together, right?
But what if they did work together, and they just didn't know about the rule?
Ugh, good grief! Enough already! No, okay? There are no accomplices in this case! Oops! Did I say that out loud?
Anyway, I didn't go to the dining hall, and I didn't take the knife, so I'm not the killer.
Okay, so then, who did take the knife? Hina seems the obvious candidate. After all, she just said she was in the dining hall. No way! I swear it wasn't me!
Sure, but can you or anyone else prove that? I can.
That's right. Sakura was with me the entire time I was drinking my tea.
I hate to have to ask, but just to be sure, Sakura's...
Me.
Right. But then, couldn't either one of them have grabbed the knife?
Actually, no. Because, well,
Just spit it out already.
I stayed in Hina's room last night.
I got so scared thanks to those creepy videos. I wasn't really thinking, I just asked her to stay over. Which means we have airtight alibis.
You stayed over? Doesn't that violate one of the school regulations?
We're not allowed to sleep anywhere but the dorms, but it doesn't say we have to stay in our assigned room, so I don't think that's a problem.
It is a problem! A boy and a girl spending the night together? It's unwholesome!
But I'm a girl.
You are?
Oh my god, I didn't
I'm
even
so
notice that!
sorry!
But if it wasn't either of you, then what other possibility is there?
Actually, there is one other possibility. Right, Hina?
Oh, yeah, that's true! One other person did come to the dining hall while we were there.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
Well, because they're not here anymore.
What? Someone who's not here? Are you talking about...
Sayaka. She's the one who came to the dining hall. And then later, she wound up dead.
Sayaka? Okay, so the person who took the knife from the kitchen was... Not Mahina! I didn't mean to click you!
Shoot.
Sorry! I meant to press Sayaka! Jeez!
Then, Sayaka is the one who took the knife?
That's the only possibility. And thinking back on it, she was acting kind of unusual. When she came into the dining hall, she didn't even look at us. She just went straight to the kitchen. As she left, she said she just wanted a drink of water. But most likely...
And the person who took the knife was the victim herself.
I'm sure she just took it for self-defense.
So you're saying the knife she took was then taken from her, and she was killed with it? In that case, you may not have taken the knife, but you still could have killed her.
What?
See? He did do it after all.
No, you're wrong.
So, that's how you would twist the argument and send us all off in the wrong direction? You possess a most terrifying talent.
Shoot. If I don't do something, they're gonna blame me for the murder. Don't they understand? If they convict me,
Hold
everyone's
on.
gonna die.
It's still too early to decide conclusively that Makoto is the killer, wouldn't you say? Because you see, if the room did belong to the killer, then they did something most bewildering. And until we unravel that little mystery, you simply can't declare that he's the killer.
Bewildering? What the hell are you talking about?
Something was missing from the scene of the crime that by all rights should have been there. You know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Something was missing. Your first Hangman's Gambit. Alright, what is this? As things advance further in the class trial, the Hangman's Gambit will eventually take place. The point of this is to reveal an important phrase relating to the incident in question. You have to deduce the phrase from the letters flying around. So I know. Alright. Okay. Something that should have been at the scene. What? That must have been the crucial point. Hangman's Gambit. Wait a minute. H blank I blank. Hair! 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 It's hair! It's hair!
Now I understand.
Oh my god! Hair, of course!
That's right. There wasn't a single hair on the floor.
So, the culprit removed some evidence?
Yes.
Yep.
And if I were the culprit, why would I need to get rid of all the hair in my own room? It wouldn't be unusual at all to find my hair at the crime scene if the crime scene is in my room.
The reason all the hair was gone was to remove any trace that Sayaka had ever been there. That makes sense, does it not?
No.
Yeah.
If that were the case, they would have had to do something about the body itself, not just her hair.
Yes, very true, very true.
Okay, then why wasn't there any hair on the ground?
The killer got rid of it all, of course, to remove any trace that they had ever been there.
Wait, then that means...
Precisely. It's simply beyond reason to believe that the room's owner and the killer are one and the same.
Then, Makoto isn't the culprit?
Are you
my God,
sure
you're
we can
finally
decide
accepting that?
something so important based solely on the absence of some hair?
No. There are other reasons that prove why Makoto couldn't have done it.
I would like
Thank
to hear
you.
these reasons.
Do you remember anything remarkable about the bathroom at the scene? Sayaka was attacked in the main room
the
first,
door!
then fled into the bathroom, right?
Yeah, then they ran after her, got into the bathroom, and stabbed her.
And how did the killer get into the bathroom? Did they have any trouble with it?
What do you mean?
It's fairly certain that the killer had some trouble getting into the bath. There was clear evidence left behind. Do you remember, Makoto?
The doorknob! Proof is the object the killer broke was the doorknob! The bathroom doorknob!
I got it!
Yes!
Evidence that the killer had trouble getting into the bathroom.
With the doorknob!
You're talking about the doorknob, right?
Huh? The doorknob? What doorknob?
Oh my
The
word.
doorknob for my bathroom. It was completely broken. See how the top part was unscrewed? And the doorknob's about ready to fall off?
Oh, yeah, true. But what does it mean?
In trying to bypass the lock, they ended up nearly removing the entire doorknob. This is another most bewildering act for the room's owner. It proves Makoto is beyond suspicion.
So what? You're saying he wouldn't break the door in his own room? But if the only choice you have is to break it, you break it. There's nothing bewildering about it.
You still don't see? Okay then, let's take another look at how the incident unfolded. Hopefully that will help you understand.
The door frame. Hyoga said it was a bewildering. It's almost well first, but that was the key point here. There's a bit more to learn about non-stop debates. Would you like to hear more? From here on out, the numbers of weak points will start going up. But no matter how many weak points, there is essentially only one lie or conduct in the debate. What I'm trying to say is, not all weak spots you see are necessarily false. Use a truth bullet on the wrong one, and not only will you fail to refute what they said, but you will also lower your trust with everyone, and your influence gauge will take damage. Now this is important because if you influence gauge reaches 0, you fail. You have to rely on your own logic to determine which weak spots are actually lies or conduct. Well then, good luck. Make your argument. The bathroom door, do it.
The incident took place in Makoto's room. Sayaka was first attacked in the main room.
Yes.
She then fled into the bathroom.
Exactly.
Then the killer ran after her.
Yes.
And they got into the bathroom.
That's true.
At that point, the killer had to try and bust down the door.
No, that's wrong. No, wait, that's what? What was wrong?
Shoot!
Shoot! Okay, never mind.
The incident took place in Makoto.
Sayaka was first, she then fled into the...
Then the killer ran and they got into the back. At that point, the killer...
Because Sayaka had locked it.
Oh, it's this one! No, it wasn't
No,
locked.
it's wrong. The reason my bathroom didn't open wasn't because it was locked. After all, the girls' rooms are the only ones with walking bathrooms.
Yes,
Yeah.
now that you mention it, that is true.
Then why didn't your bathroom door open?
Because it was stuck.
Huh? What are you talking about?
My bathroom door doesn't fit in the frame quite right. Monokuma over there can testify to that.
Yup, true as true can be. But
Exactly.
you know, you're supposed to be the ultimate lucky student, right? But to have such a cruddy door...
Actually, that was looking itself.
That's not lucky at all!
So
No.
the reason the door didn't open was just because it was stuck. But the killer didn't know that and assumed it was locked. So they tore apart the doorknob to get in.
Okay,
Exactly.
but then why would the killer even think the door was locked in the first place? Everyone should have known you can't lock any of the boys' bathrooms.
The killer could easily make that mistake, thanks to one important detail about the scene of the crime.
The killer was convinced the bathroom door was locked, so didn't know about the door actually couldn't be locked. In other words, the important to the scene of the crime is that they didn't know. This?
Shoot!
No! Shoot! Well, she switched frames, so it took place in my room.
I got it!
Thank you.
Killer must not have realized that it was my room.
Oh.
What? Are you saying the culprit didn't even know where he was? That's inconceivable!
And yet, he's absolutely right.
Say what?
Thank you.
Well, to be more specific, what the killer didn't know was that Makoto and Sayaka had switched rooms, which is what led to the misunderstanding about the bathroom. If Sayaka had been in her own room, then
Then there would have been a lock on the door, and they would have had to break through.
So they had no idea how unnecessary their actions were.
ultimately, we can't know if it came open by force or simply by accident. But the killer must have been considerably confused, with no idea how they actually got the door opened.
Regardless, it was a pointless act. Wasting time trying to break down a door that wasn't locked is...
Definitely something I wouldn't do, since I would have known exactly why it wasn't opening, right?
That is a definite possibility.
So the killer would have to be someone who didn't know they'd switched rooms?
Then
Exactly.
Makoto couldn't have done it.
Now you got to that point? I've been trying to tell
Then
you.
who did do it?
I'm sorry, but I give up! Quit without saving!
But what happens if we can't decide on who we think did it?
Well, one
don't we just vote right now? Majority rules!
Majority rules? You really think that's a good idea?
Yeah, our necks are on the line here. Someone seriously needs to do something. For serious.
Does no one have any other thoughts or questions? It does not matter how trivial they may seem.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I do have one question.
Oh,
What?
you.
You don't gotta sound so disappointed.
It's fine, it's fine. Just ask your question.
Oh yeah. Okay, so, well, I was just wondering, how did the culprit get into Makoto's room in the first place?
That part actually concerned me, but I will have to answer that when I come back. I gotta go do something for a second. No, actually, let me finish this first.
Yes. How did the killer get inside?
Maybe Sayaka just dropped the key somewhere and the culprit picked it up. That's possible, right?
I don't think so. That seems way too convenient.
Then, maybe someone picked the lock?
Negative! If you remember, Monokuma made it quite clear that the locks are all unpickable.
Fine. How about this? The killer got in the easy way. They could have knocked and said they wanted to talk or something, and Miss Maizono just let him in.
No, that can't be it either.
Oh, trying to argue against me? Sounds like someone doesn't know his place. Hello? Why exactly can't that be it?
Because she asked me to do something in particular, because how frightened she was. The answer is right here. No way, see, I like. The key? Switching rooms?
I got it!
Oh, it is that! Oh,
Because
shoot!
Sayaka was already scared, remember? That's why she asked me to switch rooms in the first place.
Phew. The same goes for you, Sayaka. No matter who it is, don't open the door for anyone. Even if I'm sure it's you. I absolutely won't open it. Otherwise, what's the point of you switching?
Knowing what she'd been through, I just can't believe she would have opened the door for anyone.
What if her being scared was a lie?
Huh?
What?
Well, what the hell is that supposed to mean? Why would she lie about something like that?
I know you don't want to consider it, but look at this and tell me. Can you still deny the possibility?
There's something I want to talk to you about, just as soon. 5 minutes. Come see me in my room. Check the nameplate to make sure you don't get the wrong
I found a notepad during my search, and I shaded in the top sheet with a pencil. And these are the words that appeared.
Oh man! I've totally seen people do that on detective shows. When you write, it can leave an imprint. Sketch over the next sheet of paper, and you can see the words. When I saw that, I was like, holy crap! I better make sure I rip the paper out before I use it from now on.
It's a pretty old-fashioned technique, but even the classics can be surprisingly useful sometimes. Oh, and I should also mention, I found the notepad on the desk in Makoto's room.
Huh?
Which means only someone who had been in Makoto's room before the incident could have written it.
Then either it was Makoto who lived there, or Sayaka who switched rooms for a single night.
So, Makoto, did you write this?
No, I didn't.
But of course you didn't, because the note also bears a perfectly legible signature. Sayaka's signature.
And that note,
But why? Why would she write that?
The note was likely her way of getting in touch with a certain someone. She must have slid it under their door to let them know she wanted to meet with them in secret.
If you got an invitation like that from the ultimate pop sensation, what young man could resist?
Of course, I'm only into 2D, so it wouldn't have any effect on me.
But can we be sure anyone even got this note? And honestly, even if they did, I do not think they are at all involved in what happened.
Huh? What makes you say that?
Would you like to hear what I have to say?
Yeah,
Very
I'd
well
like to
then.
hear.
Pay attention.
Make your argument! Dorm name.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note, the place they were asked to come to, it specifically says, my room.
I see. So if someone read that note, then they would have gone to Sayaka's room.
No.
Exactly. The room that Makoto was staying in. So in other words, even if someone did read the note and did what it said, they would not have any connection to what happened.
It certainly would seem that way.
I got went to my room instead of Sayaka's, and the reason for that is, I think it's switching to mine.
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, correct? But in the note, the place it specifically says, my room.
No, what? Oh, come on! Give me a break!
Sayaka and Makoto switched rooms, but in the note,
It specifically, I see. Then they would have gone exactly.
the room that Makoto was staying in.
This one! Okay, now that makes sense. Okay, now that makes sense. Sorry.
The nameplates on Mai and Sayaka's rooms got switched.
They got switched?
That's
Yeah.
right. The nameplates got switched, just like the rooms themselves. As a result, the nameplate on Sayaka's room actually had Makoto's name. And the nameplate on Makoto's room had Sayaka's.
So what you're saying is, the room Sayaka was staying in was actually marked as her room.
Then, if someone did do what the note said, they would end up at Makoto's room where Sayaka was.
Plus, their rooms are right next to each other. So switching the nameplates would be no problem. And the one who switched the names was... Well, of course it wasn't you, right, Makoto?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, then who did it?
Sayaka. Sayaka? Or the killer?
I got it!
Sayaka, yeah.
Me and Sayaka were the only ones who ever knew about us switching rooms. So the
Yeah,
only
that's
other
true.
person besides me who would even know to switch the nameplates was Sayaka.
You can also infer as much from her note. She specifically tells the reader to check the nameplate. She would only have written that if she knew the nameplates had been switched.
But why would she switch them in the first place?
She wanted someone to come to the room she was in, and also hide the fact that it was Makoto's room.
What?
Inviting someone to your room,
She was
but
playing
not
a
telling them
murder.
you'd switched rooms.
To understand that, we first need to understand what happened after she invited the person into the... That's where the answer lies.
What happened then was probably whoever she invited over came in and attacked her. We figured it out! We know who did it! Whoever she invited over is the culprit!
But we still don't know who it is, you goddamn idiot!
Sayaka fought with her killer there in the room, yes? Perhaps the answer to our previous question lies in that initial struggle.
Yes, I think you're right.
Then... we just have to figure out what happened during the fight, right?
That reminds
Yes.
me. There was a replica sword at the murder scene. Was that perhaps used during the fight?
Oh yeah. What's the deal with that sword?
Sayaka suggested I should hold on to it. I thought it might come in handy if I had to defend myself. It seems pretty likely that the killer used it to break Sayaka's right wrist.
How the hell could you possibly know that's what broke her wrist?
The reason I know saying her wrist was broken was the face, because when I look at her wrist, there was no doubt. There.
I got it!
Glitter on her.
All you have to do is take a good look at her broken wrist, and it should become pretty clear. Right there where her wrist is all swollen, there's something glittery there. See?
Is that gold?
It sure is. Specifically, the gold coating from the replica sword. You barely have to touch that stuff, and it'll stick right to you. And there's some on her wrist because...
I got it! Because she got hit with the sword, right there on her wrist!
I see. And so the truth draws ever closer.
All right, then it's about time to solve this mystery.
What happens in my room? And what led to Sayaka's death, that's what we need to make clear. There's a bit more to learn about non-set debates. Would you like to hear? Absolutely. Are you getting used to these non-set debates? Starting with the next debate, it'll start loading multiple truth bullets in your truth cylinder. But just like with the weak spots, only one of those bullets can actually refute the proper statement. In other words, from here on out, you'll have to combine the right truth bullets with the right weak spots to refute each statement. Oh no! Alright. Alright. This is gonna be pain. Okay. Make your argument. Relic sword.
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. A sword-based sneak attack.
And that's what broke Miss Maizono's wrist.
So, she tried to... She grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden in her leg, but then the culprit took that from her too.
And they killed her with it.
And that's exactly what happened.
Something's not right. But the person with the sword really did attack first. I don't think it was possible to play the sword down.
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. A sword-based sneak attack.
And that's what broke Miss Maizono.
So, she grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden in her leg.
No! What the fuck?
Shoot!
I was right!
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. A sword-based sneak attack.
And that's what broke Miss Maizono's wrist.
So, she grabbed the kitchen knife she had hidden in her leg, but then the culprit took that from her too.
No, wait,
and killed her with it.
And that's exactly what happened.
The person with the sword really did attack first. There's no intention for how certain part of the sword got damaged.
When the fighting broke out, the culprit grabbed the sword, and that's when the first blow was dealt. A sword-based sneak attack.
Yes!
No,
okay,
it's wrong.
That's wrong. Okay. Okay, I was right, but I got on the wrong one. Alright.
Actually, no. I don't think the fight started with the sword.
Why not?
Because the sword sheath had been scratched.
Of
See?
course.
There's a gash in it. Like someone cut into it with something sharp.
Something sharp? You mean like the kitchen knife? That was the only sharp thing found at the scene.
Stop jumping ahead. Slow down and explain it so I get what the hell's going on.
If the sword was used first, there wouldn't be any explanation for the scratch on the sheath. If you were going to attack with the sword, you'd take it out of the sheath first, right?
That's true. With the sheath on, it'd be heavy and bulky and useless as shit.
Okay, so how did the sheath get damaged?
If they got attacked with the kitchen knife, maybe they grabbed the sword as a defensive impulse. In that situation, there wouldn't be any time to actually unsheath the sword.
So you're saying the sword was initially used to defend against an attack from the knife?
Which means whoever had the kitchen knife was the one who attacked first.
I think I get it. So here's how it all played out. The culprit came in, found the kitchen knife hidden there somewhere. Then they took the knife and attacked Sayaka before she knew what was happening. So she grabbed the sword to defend herself. But then the culprit took that from her too. Then, after they broke her wrist with the sword, they took the knife and finished it.
Sorry, but I don't think Sayaka used the sword to defend herself.
What? How the hell can you not think that?
Because she never held the sword at all. There's a certain part of her body that makes this clear.
A part of it is she never used a sword. If you want to know her body, we have to touch it. Broken wrist?
Shoot!
No! What the fuck? Sword, you want?
I got it!
Palm.
You're talking about her palms, right? The palms of her hands were perfectly clean. So I don't think she ever picked up the sword.
How can you know that just by looking at her palms?
Like I said before, the gold coating on that sword comes right off. All you have to do is touch it. In fact, if you look, you'll notice that a lot of the gold has already come off the handle. It's safe to assume that's because whoever used the sword got some of it on their hands. There's really no way she could have picked it up and come away completely clean.
Maybe she
Exactly.
washed her hands after she escaped into the bathroom.
Sorry, but I don't think so.
Why
The
do you say
shower
that?
rule!
Is it because you think I'm ugly?
No, that's not it at all.
There's no way the second watch to go cleaner because it's Sir regulation. The water was off. There, now I know
According
that.
to the Monokuma file, Sayaka's time of death was around 1:30 a.m. In other words, at nighttime. And the water in the bathroom shuts off at nighttime, right?
Oh, I didn't know that. Actually, I haven't taken a shower yet.
Oh my.
You're no different. You smell like a big fat ugly donkey.
What?
I'm not sure whether to take that as an insult or a compliment.
An insult, obviously.
So anyway, if Sayaka never touched the sword, then that means
Oh, geez.
the killer is the only one who used the sword. But hold on. If that's right, then the one who damaged the sheath with the kitchen knife was...
Sayaka herself.
Sayaka? She had the kitchen knife?
But we already said that the attack started with...
The person with the knife attacked first, and the sword was used as an impromptu defense.
Then the one who attacked first was...
Sayaka?
Now do you understand? She wasn't a blameless victim in this.
No, far from it. It's almost as if she'd been planning to commit a murder of her own.
And it
Took the
backfired.
knife from the kitchen, then invited the culprit to the room she was staying in. And if it's true that she had the kitchen knife and attacked without provocation,
Indeed. These are all the actions of an assailant.
Which brings up another point. Makoto, Sayaka was the one who suggested you two switch rooms, correct? Maybe the reason she wanted to switch rooms was so that she could pin the crime on you. That is a possibility, is it not?
Sayaka wanted to... on me?
That would also explain why she would switch the nameplates. She wanted to get whoever she had targeted to come to Makoto's room where she was staying. And by committing the murder there, instead of her room, that would implicate Makoto. But for that to work, the target had to be lured out while still keeping the room swap a secret. If the target knew she had switched rooms, they would have become suspicious right away.
So all that's why she switched the names?
But doesn't that plan seem a little risky? For one thing, even if her plan worked, Mr. Naegi would just tell everyone they'd switched rooms.
I don't know. I'm not sure our soft-hearted Makoto is capable of that kind of cutthroat behavior. I'm sure Sayaka realized the same thing, which is why out of all of us, she asked him to switch rooms.
Oh!
Plus, she was the ultimate pop sensation, a totally forgettable kid, or a national superstar. Who are you more likely to believe?
Wait, then you're saying she had this all planned out?
Holy shit!
But in the end, her plan backfired. She launched her attack with the knife, then found herself under attack in turn. That must be when her wrist got broken, and she was forced to drop the knife.
The tables were suddenly turned on her, and she died at the hands of the one she'd planned to murder.
Just hold on! That can't be true! Because...
Hey! You guys have totally derailed the argument! You're being super boring right now. Come on, hurry up and decide who did it! Wouldn't it be awful if I had to punish you all just because you ran out of time?
Oh yeah, we gotta decide who we think did it.
Makoto, right now you just need to concentrate on figuring out the answer to this mystery. If we can't uncover who murdered Sayaka...
The numbers! I know who it is! No, there is something left. The numbers. Make your argument. Dying message.
It's easy just to say, hey, decide who did it. But there just aren't any more clues, right?
No, that's wrong.
No,
I found that out right away. Dying message.
there still might be one clue left. Sayaka's dying message.
Dining? Wait, what did you say?
The dying message. She wrote something on the wall behind her, remember? 11037. Written in her own blood. There must be a clue about the killer hidden in there.
Well, before we get too far into that, I need to ask, can we really be sure that Sayaka is the one who wrote it?
Yes.
I got it!
Index finger.
Her left index finger had blood on it. That could only be because she used that finger to write the message.
I see. She broke her right wrist during the fight, so she'd have to use her left hand to write.
Sure. I think we can all agree Sayaka wrote it. But still, what the heck do those numbers mean? What?
Hey, Chihiro. You're a computer nerd or whatever, right? You should know all about numbers and shit.
No, that's not... Yes, I'm a programmer, but I don't see any kind of meaning in these numbers.
Of course. It's because they're not numbers.
Oh!
They're letters.
Yeah, it looks like...
What? What?
No, it's just... look at the numbers, assuming they're not numbers. Don't these first two, 1-1, look less like two numbers and more like one letter?
Ah, you're right. The connecting line is barely there, so I assumed it was 1-1, but looking at it now, you could also read it as an N.
Whoa, you might have finally just said something worth a shit.
Our little brain cells are really getting excited now.
But even if that really is an N037, doesn't make any more sense than before.
No. It does.
Rotate the image 180 degrees.
That's what I did! Way back in the other video, that's what I did! I tilted my head upside down to read the letters. It's spelled L-E-O-N.
Oh my god. Now I see. She wrote down the killer's name.
Huh? You just shot past the clue part and right onto who did it.
So, whose name did she write?
Sayaka's diamond reveals the killer's name. If you turn the message 180 degrees, it becomes crystal clear. Leon!
Here's my answer.
The murderer.
The key to solving this mystery was simply to rotate the writing 180 degrees. If you turn the message around, it becomes the letters L-E-O-N. L-E-O-N. Or more accurately, Leon.
What the hell are you talking about? It's just a coincidence. It's just a bunch of random squiggles that happen to look like my name.
No, it's not random at all.
See?
She wrote that message on the wall behind her as she was leaning up against it. In that position, she couldn't move to write normally, and had to write upside down, as it were. And as a result, when you look at it standing in front of her, it ends up getting flipped. Try it for yourself if you want. Write something sitting like her, and the letters will be inverted.
Exactly.
That sounds like one hell of a stretch to me. I'm the killer? You can't just go and say shit like that.
If you're not the killer, then why did you try to destroy the evidence?
Huh?
You know what I'm talking about,
The
right,
shirt!
Makoto? The evidence Leon tried to get rid of.
The shirt, where is it? Right here! Burnt shirt piece!
I got it!
Yes! Full
You
health!
mean the burnt shirt piece I found laying on the ground by the incinerator, right?
As the killer stabbed Sayaka, they must have gotten some of her blood on them. And to dispose of the shirt covered in the victim's blood, they threw it into the incinerator.
But one piece burned off and got left behind.
And the killer didn't notice. If they had, they most certainly would have panicked. Isn't that right, Leon?
Oh boy.
But is one scrap of fabric enough to conclude that Leon is guilty?
Yeah, I mean, Leon's not the only one wearing a white button-up.
That's right. There are plenty of other people. It's just that one little charred piece. There's no way you can say for sure.
You're right. That alone isn't enough. But there are some other points that may reveal the truth.
Are you finally starting to understand? The answers to all the riddles are right here.
Yeah, I think so.
But remains about not sure which killer you're us. There's something about me that makes
I got it!
What's the
If you look closely at how the shirt was disposed of, we should be able to figure out who the killer is.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I think I know what you're gonna say. You can't reach the incinerator without opening the gate in front of the trash room, right? And obviously, you wouldn't be able to hit the switch to turn it on either. You'd need the key to get in. And the one with the key was the person on cleaning duty. So the killer had to be whoever was in charge of taking care of the trash, right?
Interesting.
Oh no. No, that's wrong. There was another way to use the shirt. Yes, and that's actually who Leon is the real killer. Make your argument. Shattered crystal ball.
The key to the trash room. Whoever was on cleaning duty must have had it, right?
So the only one who could get to the person in charge.
And you'd have to get close to the incinerator in order to destroy the evidence.
That's wrong. That's wrong. I finally got a hang of it. Shoot.
Hold on. I think I know how someone could dispose of the evidence without using the trash room key.
But if you can't get past the gate, you couldn't possibly turn on the incinerator, could you?
Yes, you could. If you used this.
What is it, some kind of glass ball? It's busted to hell.
Actually, it was supposed to be a crystal ball, but,
But how would you use it?
You gotta have to use a glass ball in a certain way. Throw it! He's a baseball
Killer
player,
simply
of
took
course.
aim at the incinerator switch and threw the ball through a gap in the gate. All they had to do was hit that switch, and the incinerator would come to life.
Someone threw a gap in the gate?
Remember what you said before, Hifumi?
Someone turned the incinerator on. Very strange. I thought it was off last time I was on here. Perhaps it was the work of a fairy.
Hifumi had the key. So the only way the incinerator could have been turned on without his knowledge was because the killer was able to hit the switch without opening the gate. Once they got the incinerator going, all they had to do was ball up the shirt and toss it in.
Hey, come on! What the hell is this?
All you have to do is look at the scene to know that the killer never actually went inside the trash room. The shards of broken glass, the incinerator left running, the piece of shirt that escaped the fire. If the killer had been on cleaning duty, the evidence would have been taken care of much more thoroughly.
Wait, no,
Exactly.
just hold on.
But the distance from the gate to the incinerator has to be at least 30 feet, right? The pinpoint accuracy you'd need to throw a glass ball that far and hit something that small. Could someone really do that?
That's right. There's no way. It'd be impossible.
Difficult, absolutely.
Yes.
Impossible? I don't think so. Because the killer in...
You. The ultimate baseball
got it.
star.
Because the killer is the ultimate baseball star. Isn't that right, Leon?
Do you have any idea how stupid you sound right now?
A target 30 feet away would surely be little challenge for the ultimate baseball star.
Exactly.
You can't be serious. I'm not the killer. These goddamn shipper brains have got it all wrong, I'm telling you.
You still won't admit it? Okay then, Makoto. Go ahead and review the incident one more time to make his crime perfectly clear. And with that, we can end this.
Listen to me! What the hell do you mean, end this?
Say what you want, Leon. But all the questions have been answered. Now here's what happened.
The closing argument is about to begin. Would you like to hear more? I will do on the next video. Okay, that was interesting. Wow, so Leon is the killer, and I knew when I was investigating the room. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, press that like button. Want to see more visit this on a daily basis? Subscribe today, totally free. Share this video with your friends because I'm below for the games I play. Or if you don't want me to do, try not to blink, challenges, laugh, cry, blah blah. Check out some other videos you might think you might like, and the next video of Danganronpa. And as always, I'll see you in the next upcoming video. Goodbye, everybody.